Today on Here for the Right Reasons, that's where Zach breaks down what went wrong with Rachel last season.
Because I will. I know what I want out of this, and I know what it takes to have that healthy relationship, but communication, and that lacked with Rachel and I last season.
Plus, Vinny Guadagnino reveals where he stands with Gabby.
I would actually go to dinner with Gabby. It's just that we just met, you know what I mean? It's not like anything serious.
And Angelina has a connection with her ex. Plus, Ben Higgins details his run-in with Lauren Bushnell's husband, and Hannah Ann Sluss gets engaged. We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly Deputy Editor Sarah Heron. Welcome to another week of Here for the Right Reasons. Sarah, I apologize. I lost my voice. I was screaming at the TV while watching The Bachelor. Oh no.
Were you just rooting for Tajwan? Were you yelling at Tajwan? I feel like it has to be her fault, like the other girls might think.
It was a mix of both. I had very mixed emotions about this. So I'm sorry if I struggle to get through it. But there's a lot of news to get to, and a lot of comments from last week. Joanne says Zach is the real deal, sweet, kind, handsome, and looking for true love, or real true love. It seems like he's there for the right reasons so far.
I do think he's there for the right reasons, because I was telling you before I started recording that he has no poker face. And I think when we get to the recap, we'll be able to say exactly what Zach was thinking in that moment. And he processes in real time. And when drama's brought up, he shuts down. So I don't think he is there for not the right reasons, if whatever those even are anymore.
Who knows?
Mary, she's talking about Rachel, Kirkconnell, and Tyler, said, honestly, I don't think Rachel and Tyler are true friends. I think they both don't want any more bad press and just tolerate each other.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't think they're best friends by any means. I don't think they see each other that much. And I think it benefited all of them to kind of set the record straight on Tyler's show. So that helped him, but also for Rachel, so she doesn't have to be, asked about it over and over again.
Definitely. And then Sharon says, please, the production says, kiss someone now. They tell them what to do. They have people telling them what to do. Yes, I mean, we've talked about this before. There's definitely some producer manipulation on the show. I mean, they have to make a TV show, but I don't think they're forcing him to kiss somebody.
I don't think they're forcing him to. I definitely think that there maybe is a encouragement if someone's nervous, or, a signal. I feel like Pilot Pete one time said to me, right. But I also think that this show would have ended a long time ago if there were producers forcing people to kiss other people, because in the age of 2023, I can't imagine that would be going on actively every week on this show.
I totally agree with you. All right, let's get into our news of the week before we recap this week's episode. Bachelor alum Hannah Ann Sluss and boyfriend Jake Funk are engaged after less than 2 years of dating. She posted a TikTok video on January 25th, and she shared clips of this romantic beach night, and they sipped cocktails. And then she revealed this image of a projected image on a rock that said, she said yes. And she showed off this massive diamond ring and said that she captioned it, the surprise at the end had for me. The surprise at the end he had for me. They started dating around late 2021. Of course, she was on Pilot Pete's season. They were engaged, and that ended up in going down in flames. But yeah, so good for her. She seems really happy.
Totally. I mean, Hannah Ann, she really came out winning in all of this. She never had to go on another show. She, I think, has a decent following. She's at the last season that has really kind of gotten to make it as influencers without having to go on several shows. And she is now, engaged to an NFL player. So, snaps for Hannah Ann.
Seriously, get it, girl. It's good for you.
Our next story is related to the Chris Harrison podcast. I got my answers. I guess I do need this podcast because I did really enjoy this story. Ben Higgins and his ex-fiancée, Lauren Bushnell's husband, Chris Lane, competed in the same charity golf tournament and couldn't avoid a close run-in. Ben revealed that he hadn't seen Lauren since their breakup, and he referred to their relationship as being an important season in his life. This was, again, on Chris Harrison's podcast. And he said he pretty much went into he found out that from Chris Harrison that his locker was going to be right next to Chris Lane's. It went Harrison, Higgins, Lane in the locker room at this charity golf tournament that Ben has been playing in for 4 years. So that's amazing. So he's like, I guess I'm going to see him. And they bumped into each other on their first night in Florida. And Ben said, right away, I saw him. He didn't see me. He had his head turned. I walked up and said, hey, Chris, good to see you. I will tell you, it's been nothing but great. It was so nice to talk to him. Ben said that it wasn't the first time the pair have chatted. And he also had a moment with her father. Lauren's father was there. Lauren's dad and I were able to catch up. He actually said hi to me, which felt really good. He said it's been fun to kind of get to know Chris. He's glad it kind of broke the ice. And he was saying he didn't know if Lauren was ever going to come. Obviously, she just had her second baby, but he was like, if she comes down tomorrow, I don't know if she is. If I run into her, it would be good to see her. And one of my favorite things of this whole thing is Ben is saying all this stuff. And of course, Ben Higgins, he always says the right thing, right? He's the perfect Ben. And then he would Wells on the podcast being like, you are crazy. I understand what you mean. Like, yes, of course, you don't wish ill will towards any of these people. They were nice to you, but don't act like you want Lauren to walk down those steps.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? I mean, things did not end very well between the two of them. They had that messy reality show, and they both, or he wasn't ready to take the next step after everything. So it seems like everybody ended up with the people that they need to be with, but at least that they are all acting like adults and can all be in the same room together, as awkward as it may be. But it just seems like everybody's just, that was a weird time in everybody's life. Let's move on.
And Chrisley was like a fan of The Bachelor.
Yes, he was. He wasn't on the show at one point too.
Yeah, he was on the show at one point. So he knew had met Chris Harrison before. So he was talking to Chris Harrison. He obviously knew who Ben was. And Ben and Lauren met Chris together years ago when they were still together. Chris was playing something and they walked up and like introduced themselves, and Lauren obviously was met Chris years later. So it's like a very twisted thing. And of course, like good for Ben Higgins. Like, of course he's taking the high road. I mean, telling this story is interesting because obviously they knew it was going to get pickup, but it is fascinating. And imagine getting that call from Chris Harrison saying your locker is next to Chrisley.
Like, can I back out of this right now? But I love that he talked to like Lauren's dad, and they had like a moment too. I think like Wells was like, I wonder if Lauren's dad is like, I was hoping it was going to be you. Like, yeah,
Wells joked about that. And the other best part of the story is there was one point they're at a group dinner, and one of the like people they met, it was someone they met at the tournament, or just like someone who's not related to the Bachelor world. And Chris Lane was not this dinner, but they, I guess, were talking about Chris Lane. So the guy Googled Chris Lane to like try to figure out who they're talking about, and he goes, oh, his wife is so hot. And she pulled a picture. And Ben was like, oh my God. And Ben, Wells, and Chris, they were like, this was a reality TV moment. Like, it's how were there not cameras there? And he kept talking about how beautiful Lauren was. And then Chris or Wells had to be like, dude, that's Ben's ex. So then he clicked Ben's name on Google and was like, oh, his wife's hot too. And Ben was like, this guy just kept digging a hole. Like, it's a crazy story.
That is a crazy, crazy story. So glad they shared it though.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear Lauren and Chris's side of this too, if they had a similar experience, if they felt like the same way.
I know I've met Chris Lane before, and he's not a guy of many words. So I imagine he was super friendly and whatever, but like, it's just funny to think about like this golf tournament. And now it's like good press for the golf tournament.
Yeah, great press for the golf tournament.
And they said that Ben and Chris, I think, had the same score at the end. So there was a chance they were going to have to play each other, but they didn't. And they were like, again, an example that these people don't watch reality television. The people who run the tournament aren't, out to get anyone, because they literally could have played each other. Like, just the two of them had to walk all day together, but they didn't.
Seriously, yeah, no, I wish they were paired together. That would have been amazing. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on because obviously with The Bachelor comes some controversy, and we already got some less than 24 hours after Bachelor Nation met Greer Blitzer. Of course, she's a contestant on Zach's season. She got the first impression rose. She is apologizing for some past racist online behavior. She wrote on Instagram, the journey to love is filled with lessons, and these lessons are also made on our journey of growth. In my past, I have made some uneducated, ignorant, and frankly wrong comments on my social media accounts. In particular, I used misguided arguments on Twitter to defend a student who dressed in blackface as Tupac for Halloween. She continued, I am deeply sorry to those who I have hurt, especially those within the Black community, not because these screenshots have resurfaced, but because I ever shared these harmful opinions at all. Time and age do not excuse my actions, and this is not a reflection of who I am today. So some Reddit users shared screenshots of her supporting a fellow teenager who was wearing blackface and a Tupac shirt at a party. She wrote at the time she did not paint herself black because she felt superior to Black people. Putting white powder on your face isn't okay either. That didn't make the news, did it? I apologize if this offended you, but you must understand it was not initially supposed to be perceived that way at all. It goes back to the question of like, what, they got to do a better job of vetting these people.
Right. It's like, do they care to look for it? Does it matter? It's just like, I don't know. It's just crazy how consistently
Yes.
there's something on every year. And it's just like, this was in 2016. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
Like, why are you posting anything about defending someone in blackface on Twitter in 2016? Like, I don't really get it.
I don't get it either. And, you know, of course, she's going to apologize, give the blanket apology because she got caught with it, but you left it up for 5, 6, 7 years. So,
Right.
6 years. So I don't know. But it goes back to people even care about it. Do they want to have, or do they see these things and then they don't care and have these people on the show because they want to create some sort of controversy? I don't know. It's weird.
I don't either.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. All right. Well, let's get into our Bachelor Nation talk. And we're going to have a little bit more of your interview with Zach.
Well, obviously, you know, every Bachelor, we have their past Bachelorette, and some relationships make more sense than others. The Zach and Rachel of it all has been confusing everyone since last year. Carried into that, he made that comment about her not being honest. So I tried to figure out what happened, and here's what he told me about Rachel.
So obviously, every lead, you're chosen for a reason, and there's going to be people excited, people questioning it. What is your message to the critics? What do you want them to know about why they should be tuning in?
Great question. I would tell the critics and the fans, if you want to watch something or this show and actually see love and no bullshit and not a scene or not an act, then I think you're really going to love this show. If you are someone that wants the unnecessary dumb drama, all right, I might not be your guy. Plain and simple.
Strong statement.
Yeah.
In the premiere, you do say that you lived through this experience with Rachel, obviously, and that you maybe didn't get the honesty or clarity that you felt that you needed. What does that mean? I feel like there was maybe some lingering questions about how you and Rachel ended last time.
Yeah. So I think with that, which, you know, like I've talked about a little bit after the fact, but really what it is the lack of communication through it all. So there was a lot of question marks and a lot of guessing. And when it came down to last season with Rachel, like, you know, a lot of stuff came to fruition and a lot of big question marks and like surprises, and that leads to shock. And for me, one thing that I pride myself on is the fact of having communication throughout. So I even told all the women on night one, like, good or bad, please tell me how you're feeling. Like, because I will, like, I know what I want out of this, and I know what it takes to have that healthy relationship, but communication, and that lacked with Rachel and I last season.
Do you feel like you have more empathy for her after going through this process yourself?
1,000%. I mean, it's like you can never really foresee like what the actual experience is. They put you through the ringer, and it's an amazing experience, but oh my gosh, you can do and say some of the dumbest stuff that you would never normally do, but you were just in this world that's moving 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it's not easy. Yeah, it's fun, but it's not easy.
You mentioned, you know, you want that best friend. You feel like she was in the room the first night, your wife. Was there a point throughout the journey that you doubted that and you kind of had to think, oh, was I overly optimistic?
That's a great question. So to be honest, there was not one moment throughout the entire filming where I wasn't confident that she's in this room. Like the love was so strong. And like, you couldn't even ignore it, like at all. Like, and that was something that made me feel better that, yes, this is actually working. Like, it's not like just a TV show. And then now it's like, oh shit, I'm going home alone. Like, it's like, I felt during the whole thing, like I think this is going to work.
Yeah, I mean, communication is key for Zach, and I guess he can get that with Rachel.
I know. It's so interesting. I was talking to someone before, and I was like, when they do these pre-show interviews before it airs, or this was like right around the time it airs, there's always like pep in their step. And then when you talk to them at the end of the season, sometimes that pep is gone. And Zach like seemed to be great. So yeah. I'm really curious. I don't want him to not have it, obviously. I want him to be happy, but they're always happy before the show starts airing. So like, what's it going to be? But we'll find out.
We got to check in mid-season. All right. Well, we also caught up with Vinny Guadagnino from Jersey Shore. Of course, he made a lot of headlines when he and Gabby sent some flirtatious comments on Instagram. So we caught up with him to see where he stands with Gabby today. And also Angelina from the Jersey Shore tells us about her very strange connection to Gabby's ex-fiance, Eric. Take a look.
Did you guys go out on any dates when you were on tour? What's kind of...
We didn't have the chance to. Tour is like, it takes up like 24/7, and she's in the whole show.
Right.
So, but it was great reuniting with her, and like it was funny because the tour is all new to her because she's not, but she's on the whole thing with them.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh my God, Vinny's here, like someone else that's like not a professional dancer to kind of like share the moment with her. We had like great host moments. We have great chemistry. We're both like comedians, so that's why we get along, and that's also why we flirt so much on Instagram, because like we have that same banter with each other.
Yeah, well, Jesse James Decker did comment on Gabby's post of you guys, and she said the next time that you're in Nashville, come double date with your honey Vinny.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of people were like, did that confirm the relationship? So
Oh no, it takes a lot more for me than just like a couple Instagram comments to like be dating someone. You know what I mean? So, but I would go on a double date with her and Jesse and her husband. You know, like I would actually go to dinner with Gabby. It's just that we just met. You know what I mean? It's not like anything serious.
do you guys all support this if that happens?
I think she's amazing and beautiful. She's funny.
I think she has an awesome personality, which I feel like is something that Vinny also needs because he has.
I think they'd have a good time.
Yeah.
Angelina?
Angelina, yeah.
Do you want to comment on this?
Jelly?
I'm friends with her ex-fiance. Eric? No, he's really nice, but like I don't know her.
How friendly.
Like just like Instagram friends.
How did you guys?
No, stop. We're cool. Like hi and bye. Like,
Have you guys hung out?
She slid in.
No,
She
never.
slid in.
Like a lot of the Bachelor Nation, like and myself, we like each other's stuff. And, you're an asshole.
Say that.
But yeah, no, he's nice.
Okay.
You know. No, not like that. But,
Yeah.
like, he's like cool, but like I just thought it was so funny when all the Gabby stuff came out. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I guess Eric must have slid into Angelina's DMs.
Angelina, what a wild card.
Never know what you're going to get with her.
I can't believe we're talking about Angelina from Jersey Shore in 2023. Like, good for her. That's crazy.
Seriously. And like, I feel like we talk about her and Vinny like the most from Jersey Shore now. So
Yeah.
who ever thought that this is the path Angelina would take?
So true.
So true. All right. Well, let's get into this week's episode. We had 2 group dates, one-on-one where she met the family. I mean, what were your overall thoughts of this one? We got some bad bitch energy.
Bad bitch energy. I mean, like, I love that song, but like, it felt like an advertisement for it. We said bad bitch energy 70 times. They played it 1,000,000 times. They clearly didn't want to waste the money they spent on the rights for that track. And you know what? It was interesting to me because I really did like the part where they kind of told like their story of when they felt like a bad bitch or were confident or like stood up for themselves. Like, I thought that was really cool and not always something they do. They'll try to get like a vulnerable story, something weird, but I liked the way they framed it. Like, and all the girls had different stories. The dance part was a little awkward and I felt kind of bad for them because like I was picturing myself in that situation and I was like, I don't think I could come up with something and like kill that part. And then to have Tajwan kind of like be shitting on all of them.
All of them. Like these girls, like they were like just making fun of them. Like I always think about that. I'm like, how would I act in these situations? And I would make myself look like such a fool. Like
yeah,
I
it's
would
really hard.
Really is.
And they underused Victoria and Courtney Robertson. What was the point?
I wanted more of that. Like, give me the bad bitches. Like,
I think it would have been hilarious watching Courtney like actually give them all advice and like be funny versus like actually just having to watch every dance and like cringe.
Right. It was really uncomfortable. The whole thing was these group dates. I mean, it's so hard, I'm sure, after all these years to come up with something fresh and fun, but they just get more and more uncomfortable each and every season.
At least when there's like a competition, like it's stupid, but it's like, all right, like we kind of, sometimes you see someone's true colors.
Right.
When they like have to do an obstacle course and they cheat or they like act crazy.
Yeah.
Like this, it's just like, oh, it feels like, I mean, good for all of them. They were all good sports about it, but I just know that I would not want to be like dancing and like doing that, but whatever.
Totally. And then what did we think about Tajwan coming back, joining the group? It seems like they just wanted to maybe start some drama since it wasn't really happening between the girls because, you know, they said before that we have a really good group of girls. Everyone is hyping each other up. And it seemed like they needed some drama.
I know it felt a little too like, all right, literally enter drama after Tajwan, like after the girls all said like they're getting along. Was interesting to me how much they showed like the support. I feel like they always probably talk to each other. Oh, like, did you kiss him? Did you whatever? But they showed a lot of that this episode. And I was wondering if they usually just cut that out or if this group is just like extra getting along really well and like willing to talk about everything, because I almost was siding with whichever girl at the end was like, this is a little much for me. Like, I don't need to know how much tongue you use. Like, I kind of agreed with that to some degree. I think I wanted seeing them get along was nice, but like, it was a little weird how much they were sharing with each other early. So maybe they don't have the feelings yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I felt two types of ways about Tajwan. I think it was, I guess, entertaining for a couple minutes, but it also just, Zach's face was like, I don't think he wasn't like, had anything against her, but I think he was like he immediately was like, I don't want anyone to come on this season. Like I think was scared to rock the boat. I don't even know if it had anything to do with her, but I can't decide if it was like Tajwan's idea to stir the pot and maybe get a little more screen time. If it was the producer's idea to throw in there, if it was both, like everyone was going to benefit besides Zach here. But I did kind of think she was iconic when she was sitting on the couch all casually and they like came in all nervous around her. Like she kind of had them wrapped around her.
She really did. She was really, they were all frightened. They were like, what is this girl doing? But I agree. I just love that they didn't even show the conversation that Zach had with Tajwan. They literally just walk her to the car and you're like, you did your job. Way to go.
Right, and then that also was really weird. Like, why didn't they show that? Did he do like a bad job? Was he like breaking the wall too much? Was he like, that was weird that they didn't show that. And then you also saw her get like a little emotional with producers, which that makes sense. You know, it probably had been a long day. Maybe she did get it in her head. She was going to join and, you know, have a chance. Maybe it was just a little bit of everything. She got there. She thought he was hot. She's like, I'll shoot my shot. Worst comes to worst. I get a little bit of screen time. I don't know. It was just, the whole thing was a little weird.
It was a little weird, but she is gone. I don't think that she's going to be coming back. And then of course we had Catherine got the group date rose. I feel like she'll probably go kind of far. It seems like they had a good connection early on. I don't know. It's so early. It's so hard to tell.
I thought the same thing. I had her down last week is like whatever their brief conversation was that I thought they had a connection. But I was super excited when Christina got the one-on-one because she is just great TV.
Great TV.
And there's always the thing when they like bring them home to the family so early. It's so interesting. It gave me like Maddie Pruitt at Pilot, Pete's dad and mom's vow renewal, which was
so weird. I forgot about that. Yes, forgot about that.
But like the thing that confused me about it is obviously I knew she needed the time to talk to Zach about her daughter, which I get. So maybe they told her she couldn't bring it up, but she made it through an entire barbecue with his whole family and didn't bring up her daughter.
That is a little odd. I guess like maybe she probably wanted to talk to him about it first before she told the whole family. But like you had your car ride over there, you had the helicopter ride, like maybe something that you bring up. I don't know. But they had a great conversation about it later on. But yeah, that is such an awkward first date. You have to meet the whole family, you meet the friends. I thought she handled it really well. I mean, she had such a bubbly personality that she could probably walk into any room and she'd be fine. But definitely an uncomfortable first date.
And when she told him, I thought it was interesting because again, Zach, no poker face. No. You can tell like spiraling a little bit. Yes, totally. Like clearly likes her, wishes he knew probably before he liked her that she had a kid, but also didn't want to let her go or was told not to let her go.
I mean, how bad would you look if you like let her go like that early on, like being like, oh, you have a kid. All right, you got to go. I mean,
but I kind of thought he was going to, and
I did too.
His face, he was sweating thinking about Blakely May.
Right, Blakely May. Yeah, he's like, I do not want to be a dad to a 6-year-old. As much as I like Christina, they're not going to end up together. He's not ready for that.
No shot. And then at the end, when he like said, Christina met my family and like she hadn't told them, that was so interesting, especially because the theme of the episode was like oversharing, but she kept that to herself. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but that was interesting.
That was interesting. I guess maybe she didn't want to throw it in everybody's face, which I kind of appreciate. But she was like, I didn't tell anybody about this. So
well, they cut out, and then the next group date, they cut out the day portion.
Yes.
And we just jump right into the night portion, which I read on Reality Steve. I don't know if this is true, that they had his uncle, the actor, do a whole day thing and it got cut.
Oh, I would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed that a little bit more than watching Brianna spiral out of control.
What is wrong, Brianna? I feel like we missed something with Brianna.
We totally missed something with Brianna. I mean, she got that if I hear one more time that she got America's first impression rose, but she is like just kind of grasping. I don't know if she's just totally in her head, and then saying that Christina like really messed with her, and because she told her that jokingly said, "I hate you."
Yeah,
and that was just really really uncomfortable to watch.
I know. And I do get like, there is something to be said for, I think she really just doesn't feel a connection to Zach and is trying to convince herself that it's all other things.
Right.
Because she was probably so excited. She got that rose. She walked in that beautiful red dress. She was guaranteed like a lot of hype probably in her head about how amazing it is, being told how amazing that is, gets there, maybe doesn't really feel it, or he doesn't make a huge effort to talk to her because she already has a rose.
Right.
She didn't get a one, like she probably maybe built up this connection with him in her head because of the first 5 minutes went so well. And now she's kind of grasping. And I do get like wanting a rose from him because it is like a guaranteed whatever. But watching that conversation, I mean, I don't know what it was like to be Brianna in that room, but Christina spoke the way I probably would have spoken. Like
totally, yeah.
It was ridiculous that they put her in that red dress, had her walking around with her rose. Like I probably would have said something sarcastic like that too.
Right, and I guess everybody handles things differently, and I'm sure maybe she was offended. I thought the way that Christina handled it was really good, but then Brianna going to Zach and like talking about it, and like at least he was like, I don't really want to know who it was, so don't tell me. But like taking it a step further when clearly she was joking. I mean,
yeah.
She took it the wrong way, and maybe she shouldn't have said it, but there's no reason to go to Zach for that. I just feel like she's grasping, and I feel bad. I'm sure this whole process gets in your head. Like I said, I don't know how I would handle it, and I probably feel the same way, but I don't know. I don't know if Brianna's going to be lasting that much longer, but I'm sure we'll see her in Paradise.
I don't think either of them are going to last much longer, to be quite honest, because I think clearly if we know anything about Zach, it's he not only doesn't like drama, I don't think he like can handle it at all, which is interesting in our lead, because like the difference between Zach in that moment, it's so funny. Like you're Clayton and you're Peter, they can't handle drama, but they also would not have had the foresight or maybe whatever to say, don't even tell me the name. Like they would have been like, well, I must know and I must go try to navigate it or whatever. Like, I don't know if it's the producers, they were easily more manipulated, or if Zach went into his head saying whatever it caused him in that moment to protect himself by saying, I don't want to know the name, because that is something we don't usually see from a lead. No. Maybe they're not allowed to.
Right. No, that's so true. I guess he's like we said before, he's clearly there to like make connections and not there for the drama. And he said to you, he's like, if you're looking for drama, this is not the season. So I guess he's like, I'm not dealing with this, and which I respect. I get it. But, I guess it's fun to have some drama, but it looks like we'll have some next week with Christina anyway. But after this episode, do you have any like really early front runners?
I think Catherine for sure, which I said last week, and there was one other girl whose name is now slipping my mind that I felt I think he had a good connection with Gabby. Oh yeah, Gabby was another one who's. I mean, that conversation because I know she probably felt bad that she didn't get time to talk to him. Like I get that. Also, Spiral made sense, right? Just like Brianna's Spiral made sense to some degree. It's just like they go take it another step farther, probably because of the environment they're in. But when she talked to him the first time and was like trying to give him a nickname, I was like, what is happening? Yeah. But then the conversation over the peanut butter cups, all of a sudden they were like in love. So I felt that was, he's kissing
everybody. He really is. He's really, really committing to this.
Yeah, he is. I think there's definitely like 5 or so that he really likes.
Yes.
And they only really sent home 2 girls, right? The girls in Aqua?
I think 3, but it was like Kate. He's like, is it Kody? I think something like that. I feel like Gabby, the girl Jess.
Yeah, he likes Jess, which I think she's a 23-year-old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's still really early. I wouldn't say there's like a clear, because usually sometimes first one-on-one goes really far, but I don't think Christina's going to.
I don't think so either. But I'm sure we'll see her on Paradise as well.
I hope so, by the way. I enjoy her.
I do too. I like her. All right, let's check in to see which member caught our attention on social media from Bachelor Nation. I went to Becca Kufrin because she said yes to the dress. She posted a series of photos. None of these are actually her wedding dress, but clearly she is excited and she looks absolutely beautiful in all of them. So I'm sure she'll look great.
She's gorgeous.
She really is. I still can't believe she's getting married to Tommy.
I know, the Thomas and Becca of it all. You know what? It just goes to show we don't really know these people until we see them on the beach. So hard to say. But so far, I don't think any of them are outright villains or anything. I think in the past, Christina could have been edited to be look 10 times worse.
Oh, totally. Yes.
There's a lot there that they've done in the past. And even Brianna, they probably could have edited to like be more vindictive. Like, I think they're maybe showing us, they're not showing us the full story. I can't give them that credit, but like, it feels like we're kind of just seeing things naturally play out a little bit more naturally than maybe orchestrated, but it's also only like they've been in the manager for like a day. So what do I know?
I know. They always talk about like, I've been through so much. I'm like, you've been there for 48 hours.
No, I know. It's been a journey.
I'm exhausted. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Here for the Right Reason. Sarah, who's on the podcast this week?
I am recapping with Emma and Claire from the We Love to See It podcast. They've been covering The Bachelor for Huffington Post and on their show for decades, basically. So experts to help me break it all down.
Very fun. Well, make sure to everybody check it out and keep commenting and keep subscribing. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.